Once upon a time, there was a boy, a tiny little boy, about 5, 6 years of age, 6, 7, and he was special. He was something special. His parents had shaped him to be a very capable child. Of course, at such a young age, it's not much you can do, but there was a lot of what he could do. He was really good at a lot of stuff. Those skills people yap about, playing an instrument, playing a sport, playing an indoor sport, being good at technical skills, right? Mathematics, and you integrate maths with, abacus and Vedic maths, all that stuff. He was really good at it. But life isn't always what it seems to be on the surface. This boy, he was going through stuff, right? He might have just been cooked by a few events that were going to happen to him sooner or later. And even though life was chill, he was smart. He had already achieved a lot of things which many people, don't achieve until they reach their 20s. And it really, really was upsetting for him in the future when eventually his moment of shining would come to an end. Because of course, you can't stay at the top all your life. And he fell. But there was more to the story. A lot more. He didn't fall because he got tired of just working, plain and simple. Life has a way of influencing yours. Well, life has a way of influencing you without you even knowing how. And most of the time, you not knowing is just you avoiding knowing. When this boy was about 7 years old, he comes home and he goes through something. He gets molested. Not only did he get molested once, he got molested thrice. Not by his own people, but by people who were around him. The boy takes this scar and he hides it from himself. He ignores it. He tells himself, maybe it was just a dream. Dismisses it. Years later, it comes back around. It comes off in the form of addiction, some sort of vile thoughts building up in his head randomly throughout the day. He has no clue what's going on. All he knows is this isn't his nature, but it's still happening to him. He questions why, but by now he's forgotten. Well, he enters puberty, and the world tells him those sorts of thoughts, those urges are normal. But he doesn't feel they are. He feels like there's something that's deep inside him that's making this happen. But he has no idea what it is. He just has the feeling. He doesn't know how to put it into words because he has forgotten the things he's went through in his childhood. And he had to forget, or he'd be in a different state, in a different form of being, maybe even dead. But he's had enough. By this time, he's about 15 years old, and he's ready to give it up. He's ready to give up the lustful thoughts because they have been nothing but harming him. But he has no idea how. He has no idea how because that's all he's ever known. And peace is scary when violence is all you've known all your life. He's scarred by a bunch of things. By wrath, by sloth. But those feel like parts of him, whereas the lust just doesn't. And even though he has to fix his other flaws, he doesn't even claim the lust within him. And that reflects. He hurts some people he loves out of a part of him that wasn't even his to begin with. He makes them feel unsafe, insecure, all while not even knowing what makes him do that. It's like a bad woman following him. And one night, he does remember all of it. But there were events that led to the night. And these events, they didn't just wound him. They might have ended up taking his life. Now the boy is 16 years old. He falls in love. He falls in love with a girl he thought was too good to be true, too perfect for him. Because he didn't know the bad things about her yet. He jumped in too soon. He committed to her too early. Thoughts about ending up together for the rest of their lives, and he's barely known her for a month or two. He stutters. He starts to jumble up his words. He thinks it's love when it's just him being clouded by his thoughts. He thinks it's love when all it is a desire to feel wanted. But he catches on. He realizes that true love needs action. So he acts. He does things for her that nobody ever has done for anyone. He does things for us, for her, which even she didn't know people would do for others. He does things up to his best ability and up to his best knowledge. And she appreciates it. But she doesn't want it. And she's too scared to tell him. Over time, she feels as if he is doing too much. And he has no way of knowing. Things fall apart. She starts to ignore him, prioritize him less and less every growing day. He tells him her actions hurt him, but she already knew. Her actions would end up scarring him. And she knew it, she just didn't care. He knew it, he just cared too much. A few months later, everything goes downhill. But she's the only love he's known. He grew so attached when she herself was telling him how she is bad for him. He wouldn't take it. He knew. He knew of it. He knew everything. But when the only thing keeping you alive is harming you, is killing you, he doesn't know what he's supposed to do. So he begs her to stay. But she doesn't care. Not anymore. The puddle of feeling she thought was love had evaporated. And all that was left behind was a crack. And she didn't want to fill this crack up with him back in her life. So she goes. He's in a rut now. He doesn't want to be in. He's faced battles all his life. Hardships, loneliness, feeling like he doesn't even belong. Always befriending the ones who were unaccepted because he didn't want others to feel the same way he felt. But there comes a time when the boy has too much. His mind is clouded, his vision is impaired, and his judgment is flawed. He decides he's done fighting. He's done overcoming things. He's done achieving things. In search for peace, he resorts to trying to end his own life. All this while while the horrendous stuff, the horrendous things that were taking place in this boy's life, God had been watching him fight, watching him overcome, and watching him evolve into a better person with each struggle he faced. But this time, it was different. The boy didn't want to overcome this. The boy had enough. And he thought maybe that was life. just a bunch of struggles that eventually amounted to nothing because nobody saw any value in him. Nobody saw his worth enough to even comfort him one last time. And as he slices himself with the newest knife he bought, God is hurt. And God decides it isn't this boy's time yet. God decides he is too capable of influencing the people to be good, of bringing good about in the world, of being an even better person, and that the job's not done yet. So, he intervenes, but not in a way the boy thought he would. As the boy weeps with wounds on his wrists, he sees 4 children come along. He knows he's hallucinating, but he still stays interested. He doesn't know who they are. Maybe it's an image of his kids in the future. Maybe it's his brothers and sisters who were erased before they could even be aware of their existence. And he talks with them. He sees them for who they are and not what he wants them to be. He sees them representing the values in him. One being loving, the other being wise, another showcasing the anger within him, and the 4th one, just quiet. He wasn't a sense of victory, he wasn't a sense of achievement, but one of struggle, one of overcoming it, and one of doing it silently. Eventually, he's convinced. He knows he can do a lot more good in the world than the bad things that have been done to him. And he knows he isn't a victim, nor is he a survivor. He is the candle that refuses to stop burning. And he knows if there are battles that he is not ready for, someone will help. He smiles as they start to fade away. He gets out, blood still dripping from his wrists, but with a sense of calm, a silent sense of peace. He leaves the kitchen and opens the door to his restroom. He doesn't speak a word. There's tears running down his cheeks, but he isn't crying. He then realizes he is truly capable. And this being the lowest point in his life, he knows he can do much better. Much better than he's ever done before. And he gains a sense of relief. The internal struggle within himself to save himself was finally over. He had unknowingly overcome once again. And he goes and takes a massive shit.